All right, so I'm sure that we are live. Let's make sure that we're also live right on our Facebook channel right about now. So yes, we are live, and this is the last session of TIP Annual Conference Day 3. See how we've done 3 days. This is the last session. We were already down with, we have 27 coaches straight up. We're already down with 9, 10, 11 coaches. And this is the 12th coach that is going to be speaking at this conference. And today, we're going to be bringing you an interesting conversation. All right? So, but before we start, I'm going to be telling you a bit about our guests. All right? So I'm going to read a bit about our guests, and then we take it from there. Elisha, not Elijah. Elisha is different from Elijah, please. Elisha came after. Elijah came before. So Elisha Kolade is an author. He's also a speaker and also a sex coach. All right. He helps people that are addicted to porn and sex because he became addicted himself at age 13. Masturbation, issues with erection, health issues, mental blockage, anxiety, panic attack, irregular sleep patterns, sleeping with prostitutes, sex addiction, and many more. He encountered his freedom in 2006, and he has been free and restored ever since. He's here to serve and to help fellow men, husbands, brothers, leaders, children, searching for help in this area. It's his joy, and that is what keeps him going, seeing men especially walk free continually to live in freedom. Elisha is married and blessed with 2 wonderful boys. I'm going to tell you my own bio of Elisha. Sometimes, anytime I introduce coaches, I want to tell you my own personal encounter. I keep saying, by the way, he's speaking all the way from the UK. Today, he's speaking from Kent. In fact, he just told me that he was in traffic in Kent. And I was wondering, Kent, what happened? Anyway, that's background information. All right. So we met through someone who recommended, him. And then, we met online. We've never seen before. That's how powerful the internet is. And, today we've been talking about the tech world. And I'm sharing some of these stories so that you understand that the tech world is very visible and is here to stay. So, and then we got talking and he shared his story with me. And then, we started to do some stuff that we're bringing up together. And of course, you're going to be seeing Elisha a lot more at the TIP Academy, going forward. So Elisha is here to share with us on his journey. From the beginning of today, I told you something. I said that we are not bringing you people who are sharing Google story. We are bringing you people who have their own story to share. Not just something they Googled and put together and they want to share slides with you. No, people who bring results. And in the past 3 days, you have seen this in the real sense of it. The people that is so profound on their journey. Today, we're going to be hearing the only man speaking today. Tell us about his journey into pornography and how we can begin to help our children to deal with pornography. So today, he's sharing on help my child masturbate. I'm here with my pen and paper. I haven't heard Elijah speak. So I'm here with my pen and paper for your information, and I'm going to be writing. So I might not be good. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
I didn't know that my Wi-Fi was not plugged to the light source, and I had to just. Right. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, so I'm going to be leaving the studio, and we are going to be hearing from Elijah himself. Right? Elisha is going to be sharing with us what it is that he knows regards this subject and how we can begin to help, our children. And I said earlier that all the time stories. And we're so glad to be here to bring you this real people with real stories. So you're welcome, sir. And we're so glad to have you here. So I'm going to be leaving the studio while you take the stage. I will be in the background listening to you.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. Sorry, I'm just it's one of those things that happens. I have to work and have to spend time with the family. So thank you so much for having me today on your platform. I really, really do appreciate it. My name is Elisha. Um, like when they said, I'm blessed with two wonderful boys, married now for 7 years. So most especially, I'm so much happy. I'm going to be spending my time with parents today, and it's very, very important for parents to please open your mind. So whatever you hear today, please not take it as my own story. The most important is what can we do forward, going forward, and how do we help and protect our children going forward. So I was exposed to porn at the age of 12, and how did this actually happen? So as the first child of my family, I mean, we're made up of four. I'm the fourth of the family. I grew up in a challenging environment. Don't get me wrong, both my mom and dad were very, very hardworking parents. Not only hardworking, they do whatever it takes to make sure there's food on the table. I went to a private school, even in Nigeria, and my dad wasn't a success. I would say my dad, I came from a millionaire home, but my dad and my mom, they work hard to send us to good home and a good school and stuff like that. But as the first child, there was so much pressure. I don't know whether people. I mean, my mom never understood my character, or my dad never understood my character, but I never got along with any of my parents. And that simply led me to spending most of my time outside the home. You see, the only thing I wanted to do in my house was to eat and spend time outside, because there was a constant nagging on, okay, you're not good enough, what you're meant to do, you're not doing it. So there was this constant negative environment. So I just felt the whole world was around me. So any opportunity I had to stay late at school, to spend time outside, to go to friends out, I find every opportunity to do it. So in this process, one thing led to another. I went to a friend's, which is a family member's house, and I was exposed to porn at the age of 12, 13. Guess what? I mean, can you imagine? I was sitting down there when my friend said to me, Elisha, what do you think this was? My mind, I was confused. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing penis. This is the first time I was seeing vagina. I never knew what it was. I just see two people sleeping together. And I was looking at what the man had and what I had. It was the same thing. And look at the 12 years old and the 13 years old for the first time being exposed to porn. Can you imagine what was going through my mind? And at the same time, I had my mom every time I'm going out there, because I guess my mom could see that whenever I'm going out there, I'm combing my hair, because I read, of course, puberty is kicking in. So my mom always looked at me that, okay, where are you going to? And every time I'm going out there, the only thing my mom always said to me is, if you ever impregnate a lady, you will be the one to look after her. So that was my first introduction to sex education. The only thing my mom kept telling me was, if you ever impregnate a lady, you will have to look after her. So here was I, being exposed to porn, asking myself question, what is going on? My mom is constantly nagging at me, telling me if I ever impregnate a woman. I don't know what it means to impregnate somebody. So at the age of 12, 13, I was constantly now going to my friend's house, watching porn without anyone in my house ever knowing. From then, because I was looking for different materials. Now, guess what? All my friends in school back in the days, 12, 13, because back 12, 13, I was still in Nigeria anyway. All my friends in school were now looking for, okay, who had what DVD, who had what Playboy magazine. So everybody will now bring their Playboy magazine, their DVD, and bring it to school and start exchanging. We're always talking about, oh, have you ever masturbated? Oh, have you ever slept with a lady? That was the entire conversation I was having at the age of 12, 13. But something was not happening to me. I realized that over time, I never knew what it was that, because I was watching porn, I never knew I've activated my sexual drive, my sexual energy. I knew there was so much tension inside of me. So there was this particular day, my mom and my dad were in the sitting room with my younger one, and I was in my room. I didn't know what I was doing, but I realized that I began to rub myself on the bed. I never knew what masturbating. I never knew what self-stimulation. I began to rub myself on the bed, rub my penis on the bed. And for the very first time, at the age of 13, 14, I had my first ejaculation. And there was this sense of relief in my mind. And I was saying to myself, okay, so this tension that has been building up, this is the outlet I need to use in order for me to relieve myself. So that began a chain. I'll watch porn and I will masturbate. And how do I masturbate? Then again, the very first time I had the first stimulation, I never knew what I was doing, but I knew what I did the very first time I was rubbing myself on the bed. If it was through my private part, my penis, all I had to do was to engage my hand. So you could see a young man that was never exposed to porn, but because that was never introduced to sex, never had any experience of sex education, but because of my exposures to porn, and here was I trying to relieve myself of the energy. I introduced myself actually to masturbation. Now, unfortunately for me, at the age of 15, I lost my mom, which was very painful. But at that particular time also, something significant happened. The so-called friends I have in secondary school back then in Ilorin, Kwara State, called me, said, oh, Tayo, now that we've been watching porn, we need to try out what we've been watching. Let's go and see the prostitute. That again was the very first time I was introduced to prostitute. As a young man, the very first person I ever slept with to experience what sex is all about was a prostitute. Now you could see my chain of behavior. Watching porn, masturbating, whenever I could put together any cash, I'll go and sleep with a prostitute. So I was doing this while I was in Nigeria. Even when I was staying with my dad never knew. And not once did my dad ever check underneath my bed to check what was going on, because then I had stack of Playboy magazine, DVD, and my dad never checked underneath the bed once, not once. So this began a lifestyle for me. Everywhere I go to, even when I was in Lagos, I will always look for where the prostitute. I will always look at the age of 17, 18. I will always look for where there are prostitutes in Lagos. So later, my uncle will be sleeping. Then I was living with my uncle before leaving Lagos for Nigeria. My uncle will be sleeping, and I would slide out, and I walk around the streets of Surulere. I never knew what I was doing there, looking for prostitute to sleep with. Now I left England. I left Nigeria at the age of 19. I came to England. Now, if you know Africa and the Western world, I know now the people say it's the same thing, but back then, the moment I landed in England, I never knew what it was called. I knew it was called Corner Shop. And the very first thing I saw was the magazine that everybody was looking to, searching for in Nigeria, was right in my face. There was freedom. There's no one telling me, okay, Elisha, Even the man wasn't asking me, why do I need to get the magazine? He just wants his money. So all the money that I was given in Nigeria, I used more than half of it buying Playboy magazine. And things began to get worse. I realized that the more I watch porn, the lesser I was finding it challenging to get erection. Initially, when I started watching porn, I could have erection quickly. But now I realized that I needed to watch more porn, different kind of pornography, in order for me to have erection, which led to me spending more time during the night to go before going to bed. I never knew this was challenging. I never knew this was. I never knew anything was wrong with me. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. But I realized that before, in order for me to sleep as well, I need to spend a lot of time masturbating. Like it's just like somebody trying to find a way to relax. I've had a long day, and in order for me to just distress, I will masturbate. That was my lifestyle. Again, I started sleeping with prostitute. It was getting worse actually, because then in England, I could already sleeping with prostitutes once a week. So by the time I got to university, here was our university, another level of freedom. And back then, I think back in my university, we had a very fast internet network. So what I normally do is I would leave my laptop in the lab, and I would download all manner of porn, all manner. Then I could have 300 to 400 gig of this material on my laptop. But I was having challenge in concentrating on my studies. I realized that in order for me to concentrate at school, I need to masturbate. Sometimes I could be in the class, I'll run away, I'll go into the toilet to masturbate. I realized that I was having multiple girlfriends, and at the same time, I was still sleeping with prostitutes, but my sex drive was just over the roof. I couldn't control it. My lifestyle was watch porn, masturbate, and sometimes I could spend 5-8 hours watching porn. Sometimes I could lock myself up in the house, watching porn all day and masturbate. Now, things began to get worse. What do I mean? I realized that I began to have issues with my private part. I began to have my entire private part began to have rashes, swelling around my. I began to have a swelling, reaction. I went to the GP once, and the GP was telling me, "Oh, maybe I was drinking too much of sugar." And I was thinking to myself, no, this is not sugar. I knew the self-inflation I was causing. There was no way this swelling will go down. The GP was telling me, unless I stopped taking sugar. But I knew it was the level of self-stimulation, masturbating that I was doing on myself. It was so bad that sometimes I would have bruises on my private part, but this urge to masturbate was so strong that I couldn't just stop. Now, not only that was that the case, I also realized that my health was not getting worse. I was having constant headache. I mean, it seems ability to think and reason was just gone. Back then, if somebody asked me, Elisha, what's going to happen in the next 1 hour, I find it hard to even think or even or to reflect on what I was going to do. It just seems as if I have this mental blockage on my mind. To sleep was an issue. I had to masturbate, and to masturbate and have erection was another level of issue, because I needed to have watched more porn. Some of those material were so dangerous. I remember back then, my younger brother because I live with my younger brother there, and I think I never knew he came across most of my materials, and he said to me, when I look at what we're watching, I feel like vomiting. That's how disgusting some of the things we were watching were. But in my own life, I wanted to stop. Don't get me wrong. I was getting to a point where I was getting fed up, because I was constantly having pain, abdominal pain. I was having constant cuts, bruises on my private part. There are many times I would tell myself, okay, after today, no more porn, no more masturbating. That's going to be the end. I would clean out my entire hard drive, pack my entire Playboy magazine, my entire DVD, and I'll go to the bin and I'll throw them away. But by the time the night time comes around, I'm like a drunk man. I'm a drunkard looking for the next drug or looking for the next beer. I'll go into the bin in the night looking for that bin bag, bring out the entire bin, and arrange the same material back into my room. You see, I was looking for a way to come out, but the urge was so much and so overwhelming that I just found myself trapped. So something happened one particular day that changed my entire life around. So, I mean, and this what happened, and this what many people never knew, that when you're watching porn, most of this guy you're watching, all this that you think they're spending 1 hour, when I speak, because I work with teenagers in my local church for about 15 years. And I said to them, most of this guy you're seeing that are spending 1 hour, there's lots of edit, cut. There is no way a man can hold his erection for this long. But as a young guy, I was always fascinated. I was always asking myself, one day I'll be able to have sex this long. No matter what happened, I will be able to do that. So this particular day was the afternoon, was a summer day. I was just really watching porn and said, today I'm going to go to Soho Square, because Soho in England is where you have Soho in England is the sex land, is where everything happens. So I pick up my phone, I call the prostitute, the prostitute I always use. I said, look, I'm coming. Are you going to be available? Make sure you're not available. It's so funny now, just when I think about it. He's a woman that's sleeping around. Here am I telling her that, look, I don't want you to be available. I'm coming. I'm going to spend time with you. So as soon as I got to Soho Square this particular day, I went into a sex shop. So I got into the sex shop. I asked the gentleman at the counter, please, can you give me a sex drug, something that could help me to last longer when I'm having sex? So the gentleman just points to a particular capsule that I should take the capsule. So I took the capsule. Like it was like a syrup. I took the syrup, the entire syrup. And as soon as I took the syrup, I think in 5 minutes, I was waiting for my prostitute to finish with a client. And I was sitting down there and I started feeling dizzy. And I was thinking to myself, why am I feeling dizzy? So I thought there was nothing wrong. Maybe it was because of food. There was something wrong with me. So as soon as the prostitute said to me that, oh, it's time for you to come in now, I staggered into her room. She was asking me, are you okay? I said, yeah. So she said I should get into the bed. So I had sex with her, but I knew something was wrong. Something was not functioning right. So she asked me, am I okay? I said, I don't think so. But here was the worst thing. This was a woman I was spending time with. And you know what she did? She shoveled me out of her room. Kind of like, just get out. I don't want you to die in this room. So by now, I was losing sense of consciousness. I was walking on the street. And before I knew it, I knew where I was, because back there, later I went there to take a picture of where that incident happened. I was standing in front of a pub and I collapsed. I collapsed totally. The next thing I knew was I was in the hospital bed and I had oxygen in my nose. I had drip on my hand. And when I woke up, and in my entire room was full of doctors and nurses. And the first thing they said to me was, why do you want to commit suicide? I said, what do you mean I wanted to commit suicide? I don't want to kill myself. The doctor was like, look, we can help you. You took poison. I said, no, I never took poison. The guy said, look, can we speak to you? He said, do you have relative? I said, no. He said, what can we do? Can we help you? I said, no, I never took poison. The guy said, unfortunately, we believe you took poison, and if not because of the people that called, you will have died. I couldn't understand what this doctor, I couldn't even understand what they were saying. That what gave me I took poison. Man, I was having fun. I was looking for a way to spend time and spend long time sleeping with a prostitute. How did I end up here? I mean, so I think about 8-12 hours later, they discharged me and they said, look, if you need help, please talk to us. They gave me a number to call that, look, don't kill yourself. But I left that hospital that day thinking, what is going on here? How did I take poison? Man, my entire hand was green. My urine was green. For 3 days, I couldn't tell my brother what went wrong. I was urinating green for my entire system. But guess what? This urge for sexual drive was so much. 3 days later, I went back to Soho Square, sleeping with prostitute. Now, if I remember what I said to you earlier, the more I was masturbating, I realized that I needed more porn in order for me to have erection. I could spend 4 hours masturbating, but I will not have erection. I'll be self-stimulating, but there's no erection. So one day I was in Soho Square, where I normally buy my pornography material, and the thought came to my mind that, look, I think you need to start looking at same sex now. I said, what? I was standing there. Next to my right was the same sex pornography. I was like, no. When I started this journey, it was with women. What am I going to look at having men to men having sex? No chance. I might as well kill myself. This was the biggest battle. And when I said battle, now I saw the level of mental battle I went to. I'll be going on the street and the constant thought. Now I understand as a Christian, the kind of forces that were speaking to my mind, that look at that guy. Is he not attractive? It's the same guy that you see having gang bang or in the pornography. You should go and look at how men to men are having sex. It will be interesting. I said, you know what? I would rather kill myself. There are many times I will be on the platform, on the train platform, and I'll be thinking myself, no. I would rather jump before the train or kill myself. Then I used to live in a high-rise tower building, and I was saying to myself, I'd rather jump, kill myself. There is no way I'm going to watch same-sex porn. But the battle was just too much. I couldn't explain it to anyone. To make the matter worse, I repeated my first year at university, so most of my result were pass 40%, because I didn't even know how I passed most of my years in my university. So my final year, with me struggling with watching same sex, issue with erection, mental issue, health issue. I've used most of my money watching porn, sleep with prostitute, broke, and I was getting ready for my final year exam. And I knew this was a big problem, because there was no way I knew I was going to pass the exam, because ability to concentrate and reason is just totally gone. I was sitting in front of my laptop, my desk, and I was crying and I was sobbing. And I was crying so much that, look, is this going to be my life? While I was crying, I searched for porn, and I began to masturbate. I was masturbating and I was crying. I said, Lord, don't get me wrong, I grew up in a Christian home. Even that one is not, I grew up in a Christian home. I went to Sunday school. But when I got to England for 10 years, I never attended church. I never attended church once, not once. This day, I just said to myself, just a simple prayer. I just said, Father, I cried and I said, Father, take this thing away. I was just tired. When somebody's at their limit, there's nothing you could do anymore. And you always tell me that, how did it happen? Was it like a miracle, a cloud opened up or something happened? I said, look, I can't tell you what happened. But at that instant, that desire for porn, for masturbating, for that sexual urge just went off. That same day, I looked because then my entire room was full of pornography material. That same day, I cleaned my entire room, cleaned it off, and I was sitting down in the bed, and I was saying to myself, okay, I need to start getting ready for my final year exam. And it's something I just had this urge to call a friend of mine. So I called my friend. Now, look, I needed a place to stay while I'm preparing for my exam. And he said to me that, oh, why not? come along. You can come along, Elisha. I don't think it's an issue. Just come along and everything will be fine. I never knew God was orchestrating my step because I needed to leave the environment I was. The environment I was so stinking. It was so bad that there was no way I could survive in that environment. So spending time with my friend in his room was actually a time for me to start cleaning my mind. But guess what? Even though I rededicated my life to God, don't get me wrong, I went back to church and they asked somebody to come and give their life to God. I remember that day very well. It was a Wednesday service. Then I used to have plaits, I used to have earrings. They used to call me Dennis Rodman because I used to dye my hair. And the pastor was teaching. So today you need to give your life to God. But it was just like a miracle as well. I just heard this voice saying to me, tonight you need to give your life to me. So I stood up. I went out there, dedicated my life to the Lord. But nothing changed. I went home. That night, I watched porn and I masturbated. But that night, something was different. I had this, what do you call it? This guilt, the sense of guilt just was so overwhelming that watching porn is not good. It was a battle. I was asking myself, why am I feeling guilty? I mean, I never felt guilty, even though I knew I was going through pain, but I never for once felt guilty. So here was I'll be going to church on Sunday. I'll come home, I'll masturbate, or sometimes I'll masturbate before going to church. And the guilt will be so much that, watching porn, masturbating is not good. The pastor then will be teaching, and it seems as if there are many voices speaking to me, and I'll be there in my own life thinking, gosh, why can't I just stop telling myself masturbating is not good? So over time, I think I began to ask myself, if this guilty conscience is telling me it's not good, maybe I can actually overcome this habit. So I didn't know how, but again, I began studying my Bible, reading my Bible. Sometimes I would lock myself up in my room, just reading my Bible and praying. But all this time, I never knew what God was helping me to do. But there are nights, all this process, I wake up in the night and I'll be having wet dreams. I'll wake up, I'll sleep, I'll wake up, I'll have erection. I'll go back to bed, I'll change my clothes, go back to bed, sleep, have erection. Sometimes 4 times, 5 times, 6 times in the night. And I'll be sitting on my bed crying that, wow, what is this? Why? Now I understood why. All those years, for 11, 12, 13 years, I've exposed my mind to different kind of women. And over time, my mind and my body kind of understood how you can get erection. So even with that, my involvement, anytime my body felt that they need to relax, even when I'm in bed and they felt that they need to relax, I just felt having erection. But it was a process. The process of the very first, I said to myself, I'm never ever gonna watch porn. Today will be the last time I ever masturbate. And I was looking at the time because most of the time I always masturbate, it was around 12 o'clock in the afternoon or sometimes in the night. There was this day, it was 12 o'clock and I didn't masturbate or watch porn. Guess what? I was shouting, I was screaming. You would think I just won the lottery. I was like, wow, thank God. 12 o'clock, I didn't masturbate. What will happen in the nighttime? Guess what? Nighttime came. I slept without masturbating or watching porn. I was ecstatic. For the very first time in over 12, 13 years, I could sleep without masturbating. To others, it's not a big deal. But for me, it was a massive miracle. It was a massive, tremendous miracle. I was not only counting hours, I was now counting days. I was now counting weeks. I was now counting months. The very first time I was free from masturbating and not watching porn for 7 days, I was telling everyone I could ever see, even people that doesn't know me. I said, can you imagine? I did not watch porn or masturbate for the first time in 1 week. Oh, congratulations. But nobody could understand. They could not fathom what is going on in my life. So for me, I probably will not tell you that the freedom journey was straightforward. I will never wish it on anyone. And that is why most of the time when I'm speaking to teenagers, that look, this porn that you're watching is fun for now. But believe me, this fun, if you do not put a stop to it, you will end up where I end up. And one of the clear things that ever happened to me, actually this season, because during this COVID-19, one of the teenagers that because in my local church, I work with teenagers between the age of 13 and 18. When this guy, I used to have conversation with teenagers about sex. And these guys and his friend will be laughing at me that, uncle, what you're saying is not true. When this guy went to university, first year, he called me. He said, uncle, I'm struggling. I said, what's going on? Porn is destroying my life. I said, but when I was telling you then, you said, uncle, it's not fun. So I said to him that, okay, why don't you look at how we can work together? He disappeared. This year, in his fourth year, preparing for civil year engineering course, writing his dissertation, his project, he said, but Elisha, this thing is destroying my life. I needed help. I said, unfortunately, you have to enroll to the course. I told you then, I wanted to work with you. But right now, this is your choice. So I've only spoken to teenagers that, look, there are things you need to be aware of. This sex, we live in a sexual culture, it will stimulate you. But if you do not put a stop or a cap on it, I can guarantee you it will destroy your life. I've seen many parents calling me and say, Elisha, please, what can we do? I mean, how do we manage our child? What do we do? And I said to many parents, and I think Mr. Wendy is doing a fantastic job. I said, look, you need to have a plan in place, a sex education plan, not telling them about porn addiction. No, not telling them about masturbation. I mean, having a structured sex education plan, and you begin to educate them as to what sex is all about. Now you might ask me, Elisha, what if my child already knows about sex? That's a different ballgame entirely. You need to then understand what has your child or your teenager been exposed to. Unfortunately, you need to understand what they've been exposed to before you can re-educate them. But I believe that parents have the opportunity, because our children stays with us. We live in a digital world where we can take the opportunity to actually educate them with different materials. And we can do that by having a structure in place. So for me, as parent, the only thing I always tell parents is your word has power. It carries power. Use that power, wrap it in love, not in fear. No, oh, sex is bad. No. Educate them as to what sex is all about. And when you think there's a reason they need to understand it, also educate them about same sex and pornography. Please don't be like an ostrich putting his head on the sand, that my son will never know all this sex or transgender, same sex. Please. In England, if not for COVID-19, sex education was mandatory, and masturbating is now called self-stimulation. Is now required for everyone to learn that self-stimulation is good. So if you decide not to educate your child, oh, I don't want my child to know about this, I don't want my child, they will hate outside. And God forbid, you don't know what they will be told. And it might conflict your own value system. So I believe parent has the opportunity to be the first person or the first human being that will expose their children to the world of sex education. I believe we will be successful as parents, and I believe we will do ourselves justice to take time to equip ourselves, like what Sister Wendy is doing. Get material, train yourself, and equip your children to live a successful life. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's me. Hello?
I don't know who else felt the way I felt listening to this. I had lots and lots of aha moments. It was a story told, but there were lots of parenting lessons layered up, layered upon layer upon layer. If you have questions, please, you can share with us. I want to ask something, Elisha. Please, if what happened when you actually started pornography? How did your parents ever know when you were a teenager when all this happened? Did they ever catch you doing it?
Unfortunately, I mean, that's something that up to now is like a mystery to me. My mom never caught me. I mean, I would have expected my mom to actually. You see, my mom, she was a very successful woman. She wakes up 3 o'clock in the night, early in the morning to get business ready. She was a baker. She wakes up to get ready and stuff like that. And not once did she ever search my bed or check underneath my bed to see what's going on there. What's this guy doing? So I never knew. I never knew how my parent never find out what she called. That to me was a mystery. That to me was a mystery.
Interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this. It was, in fact, my private messages are full with so much messages, and then, putting a lot of messages out there. But I want to say that it's not about being scared. I say that fear is not a tool in parenting, caution is. And I'm sure that Elisha Kolade has shared these things with us for caution's sake, not for the sake of fear. I saw someone saying, "Oh, is this thing not scary?" No, 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 no. This is for us to learn. If you started this conversation from the beginning, and my note is full with pointers that were very key to the story. So the story were laced with so much, so much. Someone is asking a question: could it be born out of trust? He's trying to say, was it possible that your parent trusted you so much
I think
that you?
I don't think it was that. Like I said, in life, man, you have to look at why something happened and why it never happened. To me, I always tell parents that the tail sign, if that's what people are saying, I think we need to focus on what are the tail signs you should be looking for if you think your child might be into this area, such like spending, maybe your child never spent time in the toilet. Now you see them spending more time in the toilet. They want to be alone. Don't get me wrong, there are different children. There are children that are very introvert. They just like their own space. But if you start seeing patterns that were not normal, you shouldn't just take it as the norm. If you ask questions, I believe my mom should be saying to me then, why is this guy sleeping so long during the day? What is going on? My mom was busy. You see, that we cannot use busyness. Mom was very busy, don't get me wrong. Mom wakes up 3 o'clock in the night to put shelter, to cook, to make sure that we're okay. We went to the best school. But at the same time, my whole life was totally in a mess. That we're busy is not a substitute. It's not. So one of the tell signs, maybe they want to be alone. Why is that they want to be alone? They started spending unnecessary time with their phone. You started seeing kind of a secrecy. The biggest challenge you will notice with any teenager or anyone that watch porn is that the pattern will always change. There is this time was want to spend time alone with the phone. That because they needed time to be alone in order to watch porn and masturbate. You cannot remove that. That is a massive tail sign. Every parent, and that's what I'm saying, that it's good for us to have this tail sign as a tool, a weapon. But if you are forced in to educate your child about this subject, you won't have to worry about that. And that's something. You see, I said earlier, and I want to understand the power of words. Let me tell you the words we carry, man. So one day I was at home. I was brushing my teeth, and my two boys were playing rough. Do you know what was going to happen? Wendy, I was going to say the same word my mom always said to me when I was very troublesome. I was about to say the same words, like word for word. Can I say, can I say something that was very powerful, Wendy? That word never came up at the age of 15. That word never came up at the age of 20. That word never came up in my mind at the age of 30. That word was only activated when I had my own children. So the word was waiting for the time that I will have my own children and I will not be doing the same thing. And you might understand the power of parental words. You might think the word is not working, but believe me, the more you put the word, there's difference between words spoken in love and words spoken in fear.
Yeah.
Words spoken in love, we inoculate and love the child in the time of need. Words spoken in fear would send the child away from you. So the question is, how do you communicate with your child? Is it in harshness or in love? If it's in harsh, you're not good enough. You're not going to amount to anything. Believe me, they will. One thing I never discussed with people on this in this session tonight is this. Because my parents were always telling me that I wasn't gonna amount to anything. You know, Wendy, I grew up that I never wanted to amount to anything. I wanted to be a failure because I was always told I wasn't going to amount to anything. I was going to be a failure. Your brother is better than you. You're going to be a hooligan. So I was constantly living the words. Again, remember what I said. I grew up in an environment where there was constant negativity. So parents need to create an environment of love for the child. You see, our home must be like a garden for the children to be able to live there and grow in power. It's very important. Like I said to you, I was always looking for a way to leave the house, leave the home. So the question is, I always say to parents, what kind of environment are you creating for your child? Are they spending more time on the phone and they're speaking to you? That's pretty different. Again, remember the whole time. If they're spending more time alone, using their phone, they want privacy. You need to understand the pattern of your child. You need to be a teacher. You need to be a student of your child. What do I mean? Study your child. Know the pattern. You start behaving. You start seeing some irregularity in their pattern. I'm not saying you should jump to conclusion. Step back, ask question, reflect, pray about it. What's going on? Holy Spirit. That's the opportunity to have as parents as well. What's going on? What direction? You need to be careful not to jump into conclusion. You need to be able to reflect and before making decision. I hope that answered that.
Thank you so much for that, Elisha. In fact, you shared some profound things in the comment section, raving on so much accolades, and these conversations are conversations that we are not wanting to have. But you know the truth. We must begin to have these conversations with our young ones to get this, to get this out there. The truth is that we're shying away from these conversations. Someone said that this is the most common issue I've encountered with almost every boy I have counseled. We need to talk about this. We need to begin to talk about these things and bring them to the fore. That's one of the reasons why, I saw in the comments somebody say, just share the things that we need to learn, not the story. Because we want to say that these things didn't happen. I have said this over and again. There was something wrong with the way we were raised. There are a lot of things wrong. The words that were spoken, the time that was given, and a lot of things went wrong. The fact that we are all in our jobs, in our homes, and fighting demons doesn't mean that we turned out okay. We need to be able to bring these demons to the fore and begin to deal with them. If not, we will not be able to help our children because we will fall into the same pattern. In fact, when Elisha shared about the words that he heard from his parents, it was so vivid. There's something that I say that parenting characteristics are reflective. Funny enough, you're going to do the same thing that your parents have done even though you didn't like them, if you do not correct the patterns. We're made of patterns naturally. We're made of patterns. And this is a point where we need to actually sit back and think through our process. We need to think through this process, this whole instead of come on social media to argue whether we needed to beat somebody or what. In fact, I like the way Elisha put it. Words spoken in love will build the child. Words spoken in fear will tear your child down. No matter how much we argue this is the truth. Words are pretty very 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 creative. So we must recognize that. All right. And if we do not deal with patterns, patterns will be repeated. All right. Someone said, thank you, Elijah. You wrapped up what all the speakers said today in a brief, because today we have had back-to-back sessions on these issues: sex education, tech education, and now we're talking the real sense of it. I told you that the speakers are not going on Google to share stories with you. If you are listening to Elisha, you're going to hear the effects of pornography addiction. He shared it in real sense. So instead of telling you, so WHO has quoted that people who are addicted to pornography, we die early, we have bruised penis, we do. That's not what he did. He brought to you what can happen in the real sense of it. For me, this is an aha moment because it is coming with lots of personal stories. And I really want to say thank you for sharing this, Elisha, because I know that a lot of people are not, thinking, we've not gotten to a point where we need to actually begin to share these things. We need to share. We need to open up this conversation. In fact, I'm so touched today that I want to talk about this conversation in the next 3 hours. I'm like,
I think one of the things I want parents to please understand is that having spent 14 years in the world of porn, by the grace of God, I've gone into it's like going into the dungeon. I've seen how they actually market their product. We are not dealing with stupid. I think parents need to understand it. We are not dealing with stupid people. We're dealing with one of the smartest people in everything. We're dealing with people that are very smart in their head. We're dealing with people that have money. The question for them, they have no moral compass. To them, it's all about money. Some will tell you sex is free. So on the internet terrain, one of the things I was a parent on, the marketing strategy is very simple. If parents was to think that they are living in a la la land, you should go on Google right now and type sex, and you will realize that there's over 30 billion pages on Google counting. If you go to images on Google, what you will see, a human being should not see. And that's what our children will be exposed to. Fine, there are blockers, there are safety. I'm not saying they are not there. But I'm saying here, these guys are looking for a way to get their product out there through online games, through social media, through many websites. Look, they will sit down and study their profile, their customer. Oh, we want to create a product for a teenager. The teenager is 15 years old, 16. What kind of website do they go to? What kind of social media are they going on? What kind of mobile are they using? They will take all this data and begin to look for our children online. What I'm saying is this, please, I want to give parents hope here today. Abraham was living very close to Sodom, but none of his children went to Sodom because the Bible said, I trust Abraham. He will educate his children after me. There is power in education and in training. How can Abraham live? Wendy, how can Abraham live very close to Sodom and the children never go into Sodom? Why? Because their father has trained them to beware of Sodom, and they stayed away. So what am I trying to say? There's hope. There's nothing about training. Training love. I keep using the word love. If you remember anything tonight, please, any word communicated in fear, in harshness, will never result to anything positive.
Thank you so much, Elisha. I don't think I can see any more questions coming. I can only see people. Somebody said, Coach Wendy, you are free to go ahead for 4 hours. I'm ready. I need to learn more. You need to pay and come and learn. We're not jackies. We're done for today, please. Thank you. We have done enough. If you have any question, I think Elisha still have 3 minutes for us to begin to sign out. And I think I like the last thing that you said, the power of training, the power of education, because I think parents are usually waiting. They set traps for their children. Let me wait until the child go and watch porn, then I will beat the child. I don't know how that happens. I've heard that a lot of the times. Oh, you hear parents say, I just stumbled into a room, I saw him watching porn, and I flogged him. I'm like, how is that a strategy? And how is that, how is that something you need to do?
That's a very, very wrong strategy. If that happens, what we're doing is that we're not only making them hate us, they will never discuss anything with us again in their life. And that thing you are beating them off, they will never leave it, because what you are doing to them is not just destroying them. You are only punishing them based on a certain behavior. But they are asking questions, what am I doing that is wrong? Because this is a young man or a young girl that is growing, that is sexually is active, and we're not giving them the right information to equip them. Rather, we're beating them up. That will never solve the problem.
Thank you so much. That actually never solves any problem. We just need to train. We need to teach. Okay, someone has a question. The person says, do female children masturbate too?
Of course, any human being. The biggest porn industry right now is world of masturbation, whereby people are saying, now that we can't sleep with each other online anymore, we masturbate for each other. Both women and men, young girls, old women. It's now all over the internet. So please, parents, don't put your head under the sun. If there's nothing that will make us change our mindset, COVID-19 has been everything. We are now in post-COVID where everything is going to be online. So everybody will do whatever it takes to sell their products, plus porn industry as well, and the pedophiles.
Thank you so much, Elisha. And recently there have been lots and lots of conversations on this subject, and people are looking at so many things that have been happening. How the industry is also targeting the children and all that. Someone says, "Thank you, Elisha, for telling your story. Is a great way to end today." Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. We have a lot of accolades right here in the comment section for Elisha. And I want to say something. Somebody was asking something whether what's happening, and I like where Elijah was sharing on how these things are being our targets. In our exclusive parenting group, we have a VIP group in the TIP Academy where we share daily, on parenting. And someone bought a book for their child. This book was actually supposed to be a book to help the teenager, build up on puberty. The book's name is What's Going On Down There. And right in this book, it is written that it's not unusual for a boy to watch another boy masturbate or to masturbate with a group of boys. Nor is it unusual for two boys to masturbate each other. This is a book available on Amazon by itself. This does not mean that you are homosexual or that you will grow up to be gay. And then it goes on and on to explain homosexuality. I don't think parents understand the depths at which this war that is going on against the minds of our children is on. And I think if we do, then we will stop giving excuses of I am busy, of I don't know what I need to do, of no, is it not children? We can just wing it. After all, it was done to us and we survived it. Words like that will be off your dictionary. And then things like, oh, God forbid, is not my portion. Oh, we are hoping that the children will turn out okay. Those words will be expunged from your dictionary if you're exposed to so much. I like the fact that we had a life example today. At least it's not something that we Googled from somewhere. Yes, so a book for 10-year-old parents, Chinyerobina, a book for 10-year-old parents that was shared. It's a book that you can buy currently on Amazon, telling your children that it's okay to masturbate with, boys, and it's fine, that there's nothing wrong with it. And here we are, hearing these things, and we're still sitting down in our homes saying that parenting is okay, we can just do it anyhow we want. It's no longer that way. It's never going to be the same. And after COVID-19, it's going to get worse because a lot of children too have even gone into pornography as we speak. Like Timotolori was sharing very earlier in the day in growing, nurturing yourself. So if you've missed any of the sessions, please catch replay right in our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel have all the videos and the replays. There is no replay on our Facebook channel. Thank you so much for coming online with us. If you will want to have more information about the Intentional Parent Academy, when you can see the scroller right down under this place, talking about the intentionalparentacademy.com. And if you also want to reach out to Elisha for more, he's also on social media, Elisha Kolade. And then if you can't reach him, you can reach me, and I will be able to reach send him. But before we finish, after we finish the conference, we're going to send details of all our speakers to you, and anyone that you want to be able to connect with, you will be able to connect with them. All right. Thank you so much, sir, for coming today to share with so much depth. I tell you, you have raised and helped a generation to come. And I am so grateful that you are courageous enough to bring your story to fore. I am so thank you. I am thankful. I appreciate you. I appreciate all our speakers today. Chinyere Bina came earlier to talk to us about parenting mind blocks. It was amazing. And Chinyere Bina is still here. Thank you so much, Chinyere Bina. And we are also listening to Minto Olori. And I like what Elisha shared. I wrote it down somewhere. Shared as he was closing. He said something. He said, the children, how come the children of Abraham didn't engage in sodomy, yet they were so close to Sodom? Because God said that he knew that Abraham was going to teach his children. Teach is the word, not beat. There's nowhere the Bible, when the Bible was interacting with the people who were able to do the right thing and said, oh, that God knew that they will beat. No, it's teach. So go back to the drawing table and begin to do, these things, and begin to, go back and then review a lot of the things that we've been doing. So tomorrow, we're going to be back here. We're going to be back here again, with 4 amazing people on this platform. We're going to be having Dr. Jen, all the way from the US, Jane Celaro. She was going to be here talking about drugs and sex and other risky behaviors in our teens. You don't need to, she only be speaking from a professional point of view, someone who has worked a lot with people, in that area. All right. And we are also going to be having my Oga at the top, Taiwo Akinlami. He will be here sharing with us as well, and on parenting and creating. Taiwo Akinlami is a social safety advocate for children and parents. We're also going to be having my big sister, Tayo Yoti, healing yourself while you're parenting alone. So if you're parenting alone, you want to be here at that session. And we will also have Laurie Sims. Laurie Sims will be speaking all the way from the US She's going to be speaking at 10 p.m. and she will be speaking on step parenting. How do I navigate it? So we're starting at 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 7 p.m., and 10 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be an awesome time. One thing that we promise you at the TIP Academy is that we're going to bring you value. Value and value alone. Like I said from the beginning of this conference, we are not bringing you Google materials. We're bringing you materials from the depths. So that when you hear them, it's not, oh, they went to bring scripts together. No, that's not what we're doing here. We're giving you the real thing. All right. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you, my yard people. I celebrate you all. They've been here. There are a lot of people. There are people that we talk to as our yard people. They are the exclusive parents in the TIP Academy. I like to hail them. These parents are awesome. They are amazing. Thank you so much for being here from the beginning of the conference till now. And for all of us that have joined at the beginning till the third day, thank you for being here. Join us tomorrow as we take on, some of these things to begin to, review again and review our strategies and reparent. If you want to reach out to any of our speakers, please do. And please do not forget, like I said in all the sessions, Elisha is here. He's going to bear me witness. I didn't pay him a dime, but yet he's here sharing so profoundly from, his depths. How we can pay him back? Please go on your social media handles. Rave about this session. Share the quotes that you heard this evening. Tag Elisha and remember to tag TIP Academy or you tag Wendy Ologe. Tag him and tell him how grateful you are for this session. That's the payment we're going to pay these speakers. And do not forget to share the videos so that everybody in your circle of influence will begin to hear some of those things that we are hearing. Thank you, everybody, for connecting again with me today. This is the Intentional Parent Annual Conference, 3rd edition, 2020. And the theme is creating a better world through parenting. We're going to indeed be able to create a better world through parenting if we're really and truly committed to it. Thank you so much, everybody, for today. I have had an amazing time, and I do not take it for granted. Thank you to all our speakers, Mutolori, Folashade, Fadeyi, Elisha, and Chinyerobina. Today has been explosive, mind-shifting as regards sex and tech and porn. Everything coming back to back all together. God bless you, everybody, and do have an amazing evening. Do not forget to rave over all our speakers today, tagging them and telling them how grateful you are. That's the payment you have for us in this conference. And we know that the conference is free, but you can pay us by raving over our speakers. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. See you tomorrow at 3 p.m.